So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to put your hands together for Mr. Greg Clarke, our President 2015. Plenty of water there, very good.
Thank you. I don't know where he gets his research from, but thank you, Derry, for those kind words. Yes, it has been a great year for me, both in my business, also in Chamber, obviously, and on the road. It was a great joy to lead people doing something you really enjoy doing, which is cycling. But I'd also say it's been a great year for Dublin and for the country. And if you look what we've here tonight in terms of silverware, furthest left-hand side there we have the Triple Crown, and of course we retained the Six Nations this year. So fingers crossed, if we get past the little match against the French on Sunday, we're 3 matches away from having a very special guest here next year, the Webb Ellis. Fingers crossed, Derry, you could be the man to lift that for us. Anyway, fingers crossed, as I said. But something I couldn't control is the fact that I have a huge passion, and one guest I wanted here above all else was the Sam Maguire tonight. And I want to again thank and recognise the superb achievement of Jim Galvin and his team tonight. And I would like you to put your hands together again and thank them. So, we are in good company. And I would say that our companies and our country are doing better than they have been for many years. The private sector has added and put 130,000 people back to work since the employment low point. And as an economy, we're the fastest growing economy in the European Union. And we're also reducing our debt and our deficit faster than any other country in the European Union. Yet, we're not in the shape we should be. But we can get there. So I'd like to first welcome on Taoiseach Enda Kenny, our guest speaker, Joe Malone, and of course, distinguished guests. Tonight, we are represented by all sectors, including professional services, finance, the born on the internet companies, the food sector, retail, education, telecoms, and of course, the many SMEs in the room tonight. Again, I want to welcome you all. And over the last few days, I've had to consider my thoughts on how to put this speech together. And I thought that I would use something that I have learned from coaching sport, which is the simple concept of fit, fast, and strong. And are we fit, and are we fast, and are we strong in terms of our city and in our businesses? So as a city, are we fit? Are we fit for purpose? Just over 100 years ago, thank you, 13% of the world's population lived in cities. As of today, it's 54%. And within 15 years, it'll be 70%. So with this massive shift to city living, the question is, what city will our children choose to live in? Will it be Dublin? Will it be London? Will it be Barcelona? Well, I, for one, want to ensure that my teenagers who are here tonight not only call Dublin their home, but want to make it their home. So to that point, do we as a city have a strategic plan with resources to make things happen and with a logical leader to join up the dots? It appears not. And that is why we, as a chamber, are calling for a strategic plan out to 2065 with 5-year milestones. And in business, are we fit? Well, I find it interesting that up until a visit to the US 3 years ago, I classified myself as a business owner, businessman. But over there, they were calling me a founder. And then I came back here, and about 18 months ago, people started calling me, "Oh, you're an entrepreneur." And I like that because it sounds sophisticated. But I would call 2015 as the year of the entrepreneur. The word entrepreneur seems to have gone mainstream. And I would say that we need to encourage more entrepreneurs, more startups. And that's a phenomenal figure, Bernard, that you mentioned, 17,000. The reason being is because they create jobs and they create wealth. And 2/3 of new jobs come from startups. And the entrepreneurial mindset, which is crucial, is one of optimism. It's a hard-working ethos. They're doers. They make things happen. And they're not afraid of risk or failure. And last year alone, we had 20,000 people who started new businesses in Ireland. So we must incentivize this entrepreneurial behavior and activity. We need to back these brave individuals because they are job creators. And I believe we need an entrepreneurial flagship policy that sends out the same message as our 12.5% corporation tax rate. Just like David Cameron said in the UK that he was going to roll out the red carpet for business, we need to do the same on Taoiseach. Reducing the capital gains tax from 33% down to 10% for entrepreneurs and investors, as in the UK, would be an excellent first step. That is an important part of our Chamber Budget 2016 submission. We need it so we do not lose any more momentum to the UK. Next is our city fast. Well, in 1971, the Dart Underground was first muted. The second source of water was muted and discussed in 1996, and the waste to energy, 1997. And guess what? The Children's Hospital in 1993. So it is clear we are not fast. And I know in my world, as I'm sure it is in yours, that if you really, really know you need something to happen to make it successful, that you focus on it and you make it happen. No action has social and economic effects. And in terms of housing, I want to say two things. From an employer's perspective, we are increasingly worried about where our workforce are going to live and how much they're going to have to pay to live here. In the Greater Dublin area, 8,000 houses are needed to be built a year for a minimum of the next 5 years. We're only building half of that. And secondly, in social housing, we also see a critical and immediate need. We clearly do not have the appropriate supports to cope with the homelessness in Dublin. 4 people died on our streets in September. The scale of the problem is unprecedented, and the situation is worse than it was in 2014. I support the call of the Chamber's Charity of the Year, the Peter McVerry Trust, and you're welcome here tonight. Pat Doyle is our CEO and his team. That we see a quick delivery of the modular home solution. And I also want to support their Opening Doors appeal, which is timed to coincide with the World Homeless Day, which happens to be this Saturday, October 10th. So we need to be sure and make sure that Dublin can act quickly in this and other matters. And as a Chamber, we have a responsibility to continually play our part and keep the focus on what this city needs to succeed. And are we nimble and able to scale businesses quickly? Well, 2/3 of businesses are stuck and never go past 10 staff. And I remember vividly in Digicom early days, that decision of going from 1 person to 2 people, to 3 to 4 to 4 to 5, the angst and concern about making that decision. It's a very delicate and difficult time for businesses, all fledgling businesses of that size. So why are there additional tax barriers to hiring and growing businesses? If we remove the employer's PRSI levy for the first 3 years of new hires in small businesses, we can grow companies, we can grow jobs, and yes, we can grow the overall tax take. So fit, fast and strong. Are we strong as a city? Well, the good news is we now have the M50, we have our Terminal 2, we have our Port Tunnel, and the Cross-City Lewis line, which is coming on stream. And of course, we have this wonderful convention centre. They're all positive pieces of necessary infrastructure. But they are also all nearing capacity already. So the question is, do we have the social and physical infrastructures in place to see our city into the future? And the answer is no, unfortunately. We will have 400,000 more people living in Dublin within 15 years. And the lowest capital investment per capita of any region in Ireland is Dublin. And that's a fact. Therefore, we must triple our investment to build the infrastructure needed for strength. And by the way, that only helps us keep pace with our neighbours in the UK and other global cities. Last week's announced capital programme does offer hope that there is appreciation of the need to invest. But the timeframes still leave me worried. The Metro, which is due to be delivered by 2026 and 27, is something that we all know and need. All major capitals have a Metro linking the airport to the city. The question I would ask is that if it's going to take that long to deliver it, will it be at capacity virtually in the year it's opened? So is business strong? Well, yes, we have a strong business community. But often we don't see those businesses growing to the global scale that they could achieve. And I want to recognise the great work of our Startup Commissioner, Niamh Bushnell, who's with us here tonight. That was a fast year, Niamh. I know you're entering the second year already. Congratulations to you and your team on what you've achieved so far. And this week is the week of the Startup Gathering, with over 350 events happening across the country. And the focus of the Startup Gathering is one thing and one thing alone, which is to make Ireland an ideal location to start, to scale, and to succeed. So we need to remain ambitious with an international outlook and with a strong entrepreneurial mindset, and work harder to make businesses grow, because growth in business means jobs. And here is the double benefit of the capital gains tax that I mentioned earlier on, that would help startups. Because if we do this right and we get it successful, guess what? These business owners, they'll reinvest in another Irish business, and they'll help mentor the next generation. And as a business community, we can make a difference for each other and for the people in this country. So we have a lot of the ingredients that we need, and they're finally coming together. Our city is a lot fitter. And of course, let's not forget that Dublin's culture is absolutely unique and is what gives this city its character and its distinctive identity in this globalised world that we live in. Dublin, by the way, is providing over half of the total tax revenue and the place of work for more than 2 in 5 people in Ireland. But it is clear that we are not fast and that this must be addressed. Faster decisions, faster actions with regards to our infrastructure improvements, our education, our health systems, and business support structures are required in order to continue the momentum. We may be strong now in 2015, but have we invested enough? So will we be strong in 2020, in 2025 and beyond? I'm not so sure. Over the coming months, we will be faced with a general election. So we need to pick the partners for our team. And this is probably the most important election of the last 25 to 30 years. Will these partners make the strategic plan happen? Will they create the flagship policy to demonstrate that we are pro-business and pro-small business? Will they make the long-term decisions necessary for our futures and our kids' futures and their kids' futures? That decision is in our hands by encouraging everyone we know to exercise their right and get out and vote. So in conclusion, the narrative for 2016 should not just be about remembering our forefathers and their bravery, but capturing the spirit of hope and willingness to do. So as your President of 2015, I am asking for us all to take action so that tomorrow can be better than today. Thank you.